Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our Tuesday night series of Chicago Bears Talk Live. My name is Nick Rohde of Just Another Year Chicago Bears, and thank you for tuning into this episode. I cannot wait because I have a very special guest with us today that I'm going to bring in a minute. But today we are going to be discussing overall Ryan Poles offseason. Did he drop today that Caleb Williams is a for sure lock at the players' meetings? A little bit more on the stadium that could potentially be on the lakefront or in Arlington Heights, and overall what we should do with that number 9 overall pick. But today I am bringing in my very good friend and special guest, Aldo Gandia from Barroom Network. Aldo, welcome to the show.
Always great to be on with you, Nick, and you do great work here, and I'm excited to talk football with you for the next hour or so.
I've been ecstatic because, it's that weird time where, okay, like there's the owners meeting right now, there's pro days, like everyone's just kind of talking about, hey, like what are we doing with everything going on? But this is the type of stuff that I look forward to talking about. So Aldo, let's just get right into it. And before we begin today, folks, please hit that like button and subscribe to Just Another Year Chicago Bears along with Aldo's network, Barroom Network. Link is in the description. Make sure you go give him a subscribe as well. Great Bears content. We're excited to bring you guys tonight's episode. But Aldo, to start things off, the man of the hour, Ryan Poles. It's been a crazy 3 years for him, and this offseason in particular has been nuts. So just to kind of start things off, brick by brick, what is his offseason grade from you?
That's a great question. Clearly it's incomplete because the draft is such a big portion of this, but I like what he has done to date. If I was doing mid grades of the offseason, I would give him probably a B plus. And the reason I don't give him an A is that I think he dropped the ball a little bit with the trade value on Justin Fields. He gave away at the combine. He signaled that he was going to do right by Justin. And that basically was a signal to everyone in the National Football League, all the 31 other general managers, is that he was going to trade Justin Fields. So that devalued his trade value. And I think that, I like the acquisition of DeAndre Swift. But I wonder if there couldn't have been a better choice, and I should probably have some names at the back of my at the top of my head. But DeAndre Swift to me is a question mark as to whether he's a true lead back. Now, he had phenomenal numbers last year with Philadelphia Eagles, but the Philadelphia Eagles in 2023 had an excellent, much better offensive line than the Chicago Bears will have this season, although there have been improvements in the Bears offensive line with the depth. So overall, I would give it a B plus. I wonder what people in the chat are saying, and I wonder what your thoughts are with his grade.
So answering the chat real quick for you, we got an A minus already out of the gate from Jason. We got an A minus, and Jerome, we have an A minus. And going off of my grade for Ryan Poles, I'm with you. B plus is definitely I didn't like what he did. I agree. He gave away that he was getting rid of Fields. I didn't like how he also handled it because of the fact that Justin was sitting there in the dark for 3 months. And he's like, what are we doing? If you wanted to do right by Fields, you're trading him right away. I also think that before Kirk Cousins became a possibility for Atlanta, we could have dealt him to Atlanta, gotten maybe a second for him, a third, a couple other picks there. That was Poles' big fumble, let's say. But overall, like going back to DeAndre Swift with you really quick there, I really like that pickup. He's 1,000-yard rusher with the tush-push offense, which is really, really impressive. On top of that, the Lions didn't have a good offensive line till of recent when he was with the team. So I like the kid at 25 years old. I think he's versatile. He can do it out of the backfield. He can do it all. And his mad runs, those explosive runs out of the backfield, kid's dangerous. He's crazy fast. The other reason why I give him a B plus is that Keenan Allen trade, we fleeced the Chargers.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing is that, he does have a big cap hit, but he's a 32-year-old wide receiver that if we bring in, a Brendan Rice, a Roma Dunze, a Brian Thomas Jr. can mentor him. And it's a 1-year rental where we have that rookie moving forward. So that's kind of where I sit. But Aldo, going off that, how do you feel about all the lineman grades that are grading the linemen that he brought in to potentially fill in the offensive line just on 1-year rentals. Is there anyone that sticks out?
Well, I definitely like the acquisition of Ryan Bates. And the reason why is because of the versatility. And it's interesting because Ryan Poles mentioned that yesterday when he met with the media. He said, one of the things that's bugged him is that they had very little opportunities to mix things up, to change things up, because the versatility on the part of linemen wasn't quite there. And so now you got Bates, who can play center and probably will be, well, I was going to say probably be the number one center, but now with the acquisition of Shelton, that doesn't look like it's going to be a lock. But Bates can play the guard. Both of our guards from 2023, Nate Davis and Tevin Jenkins, had injury issues that probably won't stop in 2024. Unfortunately, hopefully it does. But Bates can now step in and take care of the job. Shelton is a serviceable center. He's not one of the better centers in the league, that is for sure, but he knows his role. I think he's a notch above Lucas Patrick. And so is that good enough? No, but maybe that'll be addressed in the draft, or maybe that will be addressed next year when the team has a lot of draft capital.
I like the Shelton pickup, to be honest with you. And, the live chat still giving a lot of A minuses, a lot of B pluses, B minuses. So guys, keep putting your grades in the live chat. Aldo and I will go through them as you guys bring them in. And also any questions. Also, Aldo, we got Don Burr in the live chat right now. So this is a big episode right now that Don Burr is here.
That's right. He is, Don Burr is that nomadic Lions fan who goes from show to show to show, creating hatred. And that's one of the reasons I love him so much.
There he is, Detroit versus everybody. We're all just having a good time here, guys. Absolutely. I appreciate everyone tuning in. Guys, keep putting your thoughts in the comment section. Mike's given an A- as well for polls. And then Cliff, thanks for tuning in, Cliff. B grade so far will be adjusted after the draft. Yep, couldn't agree more on that. The thing is with me is that, like you said, it's a better Lucas Patrick, a better Cody Whitehair. And that's all the Bears needed this past year was better than what they provided. And shout out to, Cody Whitehair, great player for the Bears for a long time, but it was time to move on. And Lucas Patrick, great locker room guy, time to move on. 2-year rental, did what he had to do. We still have Doug Kramer on the roster. We don't know what the kid out of Illinois can do, but I really like Cedric Van Pran out of Georgia with that 3rd round pick. Is there anyone on your radar at center, Aldo?
There's Bo Lemire, Limmer. I think he's out of Arkansas, and I just picked up on him probably a couple of weeks ago and been studying him. He's a tough, hard-nosed guy. He's a very intelligent player. He has played right guard and left guard, so that gives you some versatility. He may not be ready to play as a starter in his first year as a rookie, but he could be there available for that 4th and final pick that the Bears currently have. And so picking him up might be a nice developmental pick. Bo Lemire. Let me double check to see if I have here where he is from. Yeah, it is Arkansas. PFF has him as the 106th ranked player, 6'5", 370 pounds.
Yeah, he's a big guy, but he's light, and that's what Poles likes in his offensive lineman. I've noticed the athletic build. I don't know if you saw, but at the Senior Bowl, he got cooked by Trevante Sweat. Oh man, he got absolutely pancaked by Trevante Sweat. But the thing what I like about him is that he can go back and say, hey, like, I feel good about this. And he recovered very well, went right up against him again. He's like, let's do it again. So I like his mentality, and I'm with you. I don't think he could be a starter this year. I mean, the only starter ready center in this draft is for sure Jackson Powers Johnson out of Oregon. Maybe Zach Frazier out of West Virginia, which the Bears have a top 30 visit with him tomorrow, which I'm super excited to hear about. Yeah. But he's a tough player. He's a good, all these guys are really good players. Like this is like the perfect draft for the Bears, in my opinion. Lots of centers, lots of edges, lots of wide receivers, and just overall lots of linemen and quarterback, obviously.
Do
Go
you
ahead.
think? And I apologize for asking questions. It's
No,
just in my
please.
blood. But would you be upset if the Bears didn't add more draft picks and stayed where they are with just 4 picks?
I would be very upset. And as a betting man, not often, but when I do, Ryan Poles is 2 for 2 trading back in
Mm-hmm.
his drafts. So,
Mm-hmm.
that number 9 is likely on the move. And, some people have called me crazy for saying that the number 1 is still a possibility to get moved. I mean, we don't know what Poles is going to do, but the fact that what just makes me upset is that for the number 1, if it wasn't Caleb Williams, I think obviously we wouldn't get as much. But we could get literally 2 more years of first rounders, multiple second rounders if we traded back a couple times, and then still get a decent quarterback, or Marvin Harrison Jr. or Joe Alt, which I'm super high on Joe Alt. That's my favorite player. Nothing against Braxton Jones, and I've said this. It's just that Braxton Jones is above average. He's better than left tackles we've had in the past, but he's a penalty machine. And Joe Alt, 1 sack in 3 years at Notre Dame and over 2,000 offensive snaps, 3 quarterback hurries and 1 quarterback hit. I mean, what more do you ask for in a left tackle? But that's why I would want more picks. I see the 9 getting dealted. And for everyone watching, I'm dropping an episode tomorrow about potentially trading back with the Vikings. I think that we do get more draft capital. I don't see Poles not doing that, but are you feeling the same, or you think he's going to stay put?
I don't know what he's going to do. I know he was asked about that, but this is the lying season. He was asked about that. He said he would feel fine with just 4 picks, and I happen to agree with him because I don't. While there is depth at certain positions, I think that when you have the 1st and 9th pick, you are almost guaranteed 2 blue chip players, and I think that's what this team needs is blue chip players. Trading down for a couple of thirds and maybe going into picking up picks in day 3 in this draft. I don't think that's that important. I think in next year's draft, which analysts are saying is going to be much more robust with talent, this year's draft, there were a lot of players who decided to go back for their senior year, who for whatever reason are not in the draft. So the talent availability, particularly for day 3, is not there. So I think you pick up these 2 blue chippers, whether it's Caleb Williams or right now, my favorite choice really almost a tie between the wide receiver Rome Odunze and Dallas Turner. But I think the need for Dallas Turner is higher than the need at wide receiver. You put Dallas Turner and his speedy pass rush skills opposite Montez Sweat. Now you've got a killer defensive line, because those 2 young players that were drafted last year are going to improve, and I'm sure that they're going to add some veteran depth now that Justin Jones has moved on. This defensive line could go from a B+ to an A+ with the drafting of Dallas Turner. And there's some other good defensive ends like Latu and so forth, but what the Bears primarily need is that speed edge rusher, and Dallas Turner is the best of them coming out.
And so he has his top 30 visit later this week too. I'm a huge Dallas Turner fan because the fact is he runs a 4.46 40 time for a guy that's 6'4", 250 plus pounds. Not only that, he had 33 quarterback hurries last year. He had 14 sacks. He had 15 tackles for loss and 2 pass deflections with a 40-inch vertical. So he can drop back into cover. Like this, I mean, he is just an absolute Greek god on the field. I call him. Yeah. Like that's, and you can't miss out on talent like that. Also, the other fun fact about him, he's never missed a game. Very reliable player, doesn't get hurt. I'm with you. I'm with you, Aldo. Dallas Turner's my guy, but I would not be upset if we traded back 1 or 2 picks and still got Jared Verse, because I'm a big Jared Verse guy too. The beast out of Florida State, 4.54 40 times, so a little bit slower, but 265 pounds, and he literally throws offensive linemen like they're rag dolls. So it's tough. It's a tough. So you're Dallas Turner over Jared Verse.
Yeah, by a bit. And Latu, I've been in love with him for several months. He's got all of the pass rush techniques, not all of them, but plenty of them because he doesn't win with with athleticism. He's probably a C plus B with his athleticism. He wins because he's smart. He studies. He's just the kind of guy you want in your locker room. So I wouldn't mind Latu opposite Sweat, but at the same time, having that speed rusher in today's NFL, when quarterbacks are getting rid of the ball under 3 seconds, 2.2 seconds, you're seeing a lot of these releases. A speed rusher can be very disruptive and really help Jalen Johnson get that magic 10 interceptions, which I know he's got his eye on.
Do you think Johnson can do it this year?
Yeah, I really do. I really do that. If they invest another pick in that pass rush, I do believe that they can, that Jalen Johnson can come up with 10 picks. Plus, we can't overlook the signing of the free agent safety, Bernard. This guy is a wily veteran, has never missed a game in his NFL career. 9 seasons? Never missed a practice, only to attend a family event or something like that. He's smart. He's going to take the skills that Eddie Jackson had, which is Eddie Jackson's value was mentoring the younger players in the defensive backfield, communicating. He was the quarterback of the defensive backs. This guy is going to do the same thing. He's going to do the same thing. Plus, because he's going to be on the field more, he's going to, be a problem for quarterbacks. And so if quarterbacks dare to throw Jalen Johnson's way, we could see double digits from Johnson with the INTs.
I think that was the biggest offseason signing from free agency, like bigger than DeAndre Swift, bigger than Gerald Everett, like the 2-time All-Pro, 2-time Pro Bowler, was traded from Tennessee for a reason to the Eagles because the Eagles last season were trying to win a Super Bowl again. Mm-hmm. And he last 3 seasons, he's had over 300 tackles, averaging more than 100 tackles per season. He has 14 pass deflections in the last 3 years, but no one wants to throw to him because I'm looking at my chart right now. QBR when he's targeted is 51.2.
How nice is that?
Jalen Johnson has a 41.3. So you right there, you get anywhere near them, you are either having a pass deflection or you're having an interception. I mean, this secondary is going to be this secondary is set for a long time. Tyreek Stevenson, Jaquan Brisker, Kyler Gordon, Terrell Smith, Jalen Johnson, Josh Blackwell, Jalen Jones. I mean, these guys are just speedy. They're big. They're fast. I'm with you. I think that it's going to be a good year overall for just everyone involved, especially on that defense. And Aldo, we have a really good question that I want to bring up from our viewer, Phil. Do you have a sleeper pick in the 3rd round this upcoming season for the Bears?
Oh boy. See, given that I am going to bypass the receiver in the 1st round and try to acquire an edge rusher, I've been looking at these 3rd round wide receivers, and Johnny Wilson, the big, tall, 6'7", he's kind of a hybrid between tight end and wide receiver. Xavier Legette, I have seen him drop to the 3rd round in a lot of mock drafts. Ricky Pearsall, I think his work at the Senior Bowl and during the offseason, I think he's elevated into a 2nd rounder. But if he falls to the 3rd round, I mean, I would even trade up to pick up a Ricky Pearsall because he's the kind of guy who's just going to get open over the middle. He plays hard. He's going to block hard. If I were to put him in order, I would put him number 1. But there's also some guys like Taj Washington who played at USC with Caleb. I don't think Taj is going to be a 3rd round pick. I think he's going to be a day 3 pick, but he's somebody to keep an eye on. And then, like you said, the wide receiver depth in this draft is so good. You can pick up a quality wide receiver. But my heart for Rome Odunze. Never mind.
No, if we can get it, I would not be mad, like you've kind of been saying, if we pick up Rome at 9. He is just a great player. I don't think he's a sleeper like Phil is asking in the 3rd round, but if Xavier Legette were to drop to the 3rd round, you have to grab that guy immediately. 6'3", 223 pounds, runs a 4.36. I mean, there's no one taking that guy down if he gets his hands on the ball. And he's, ironically, I call him Alshon Jeffrey 2.0, and he's from South Carolina. History repeats itself in good ways sometimes. And I would love if the Bears had a trio of Leggett, Allen, and Moore. I mean, that'd be crazy. And I saw Mike also commented, this is another one of my sleepers, and I'm not sure if you kept an eye on him, Aldo, but Cade Stover from Ohio State.
The tight end from Ohio State. Yeah.
Yep.
I like Stover a lot. I wonder now with the investment in Everett, although I think that's just a 1-year contract, maybe 2-year contract, and Cole Kmet, I got a feeling they're not going to draft a tight end, given the 4, or if they add 5 or 6 picks in this draft. But if they ended up with Coach Stover, I'd be totally fine with that. This is a tight end heavy offense that Shane Waldron runs, and so to get some depth at that position, it wouldn't be a bad idea. That's the other thing that I love about my feeling of excitement for this upcoming season is what Shane Waldron can possibly do with the talent that he has. He loves to run that 12 personnel. I've seen his tight ends lined up in the backfield to the left and right of the quarterback. I mean, can you imagine what Everett and Cole Kmet can do? It's like, wow, get out of here. This could be really, really fun offense.
I liked Noah Fant from Seattle as a potential guy to pick up, but we ended up going with obviously Gerald Everett, which the more you learn about him, the more you like him. I mean, the number 2 tight end in broken tackles the last 3 years, one of the best run blocking tight ends too. I mean, 6'3", 263 pounds. That's a lot of man right there. And he doesn't wear it bad either. I mean, he keeps himself in shape, really good overall player. And he's got hands like glue, a 74% catch percentage. I'm with you. The tight end game is going to be a lot of fun for the Bears. And it kind of reminds me of when, what was it? Was it Kellen Davis and it was Bennett back in 20. Martellus Bennett. That tight end group was a lot of fun to watch.
They were, and Mike Ditka, it was the epitome of tight end play in the '60s for the Chicago Bears. So this town deserves to have a great inside linebackers, a la Butkus and Singletary, great running backs, a la Peyton and Sayers, and great tight ends, a la Butkus and Bennett. Bennett, of course, not quite in the league of Ditka, I should say, but we need to get Cole Kmet open more often, and that can happen with a really strong tight end room where you just, those guys are coming off the bench fresh. They're being used in exotic alignments and stuff. So, again, the sky is blue in Chicago, man.
The one trade that just makes me just shake my head still is when we got rid of Greg Olsen. Him and Desmond Clark were so much fun to watch in those late 2000s Bears. And I think if we would have kept Olsen and Clark together after that 2010 season where we went to the NFC Championship, I think we would have been pretty good for a long time. But Jerry Angelo, I don't know what he was thinking.
Yeah, well, and that was part of the problem with the Chicago Bears organization. You make this investment of Greg Olsen, a first-round draft pick, and then a couple of years later, you bring in an offensive coordinator who doesn't like using a tight end in pass-catching situations. He wanted a third tackle. And so we end up with Brandon or whoever it was.
Malaga Lugulier.
Yeah, exactly. And, Olsen goes on to have what is probably going to be a Hall of Fame career with the Carolina Panthers. What are you doing here? Things should be synchronized. We need a plan. And that was Lovie Smith's fault and the general manager, Jerry Angelo, for approving. Angelo approved Lovie's decision to bring in Mike Martz, and he shouldn't have. He should have quizzed him. How are we going to use Olsen? This is a prime investment that we have. And we got him on a cheap contract for the next couple of years. He should have quizzed him. And if Martz is hemming and hawing, then he's not the guy. Let's find somebody else.
I'm still my favorite clip ever. And if I could find it really quick, I would have thrown it up. Was when Jay Cutler looked over at the sideline and everyone was like, "Hey, Mike Martz is saying this." He goes, "Tell Mike to go F himself."
Exactly. He wanted him to take another 7-step drop when the guy is being murdered on the field, and he's like, "I got to get rid of this ball quickly because nobody's blocking. You tell Mike Martz." Bleep, bleep.
And then no one knows the context of it unless you explain it like that. And everyone's like, "Oh, well, why is he saying that?" Like, no, there's a good reason why Jay Cutler did not like Mike Martz. Let's just put that out there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Aldo, before we get into our next topic, which is going to be hitting on Caleb Williams a little bit more, we got over 300 people tuned in right now. So want to say thank you to everyone right now for tuning in. And if you haven't already, please hit the like button on this video to help get it to more Bears fans. Liking it tells YouTube, hey, Bears fans are watching this. Come watch Nick and Aldo right now. And also, please make sure you go to the link in the description to go to Aldo's channel if you haven't already and hit that subscribe button as well. But Aldo, let's get back into, we have one super chat real quick that I want to get into before we get into our next banner. If StreamYard wants to let me get to it, is we got a question or a comment in regards to that new rule about the hip tackle. And it's from Alex, kind of want Bowers to come to the Chicago Bears now that the hip drop is banned. Yeah. So what were your thoughts overall when the NFL approved that rule?
I'm all for safety measures. Listen, I grew up watching football when they were literally dragging injured players off the field. Player safety was not held in high regard in the NFL back when I started watching. But, we've seen the scientific evidence that the amount of injuries in the National Football League, you can't keep doing this. And so, but the issue with this rule is that it's going to be so hard to advance. And when you have the NFL Players Association, the NFLPA, which is responsible for the financial health and the physical health of its players, when they're saying this is a bad idea, referees are not going to be able to enforce this fairly, it's just too tough a call. Then you pause. You go, well, the players are the ones out there, and they're saying this is a bad idea. So I have to be on the side of the players here, just like I usually am when it comes to rules. I don't know. I'm much more in favor of the kickoff rule, but this swivel hip tackle, I think there's going to be a big mess in the NFL the first several weeks of the league, maybe the entire league year, having to enforce that rule by the NFL officials.
I'm with you. I'm all about player safety, but I feel like ironically, this rule came into play after the NFL announced that offenses aren't scoring enough, which I was like, okay, is this about the money now, or is this about the game?
Interesting.
Come on. Yeah, I just thought it was a really interesting situation that the NFL put out there, but I get it. I get the rule because there have been some serious injuries because of it. But at the same time, football's football. The helmet to helmet, that one, I'm like, yes, that's 100%. But you're going to get some hip pointers when you're playing the game. That's wear more pads. A lot of these guys don't even wear knee pads anymore. So I don't know. There should be more rules in regard to that. That's just me though.
I agree.
But overall, you need more offense. You need more offense. But thanks, guys, for all the live chat comments. We're getting them in a little bit. If you guys have comments or questions, make sure to throw them in there. But let's go into Caleb Williams being a lock. So today at the owners and general managers meeting in Orlando, Ryan Poles came out today and talked super highly of Caleb Williams, talking about his interactions with him, the dinner before the pro day, after, getting to know his parents, and also literally saying we're resetting the quarterback market for the Chicago Bears here. Not only that, but resetting the team. It's getting pretty blatantly obvious. And then on top of it, Chicago Bears social media did a mock draft where they only showed the number 9 pick, not even the number 1 pick.
Yes.
So Aldo, how are you feeling in regards to, the Caleb Williams situation? Are you on board for it? Like, are you 100% Caleb Williams, or are you still like, maybe we can do something with that number 1 pick?
Well, I'm going to take all calls, but it's going to have to be a monumental trade offer for me to even consider trading Caleb Williams away. I mean, I have now shifted my allegiance fully from Justin Fields to Caleb Williams. And I've done a lot of work over the last several days to see what he is capable of doing, to see what he's done in college, and to reading reports about him. I went back and read the Vanity Fair article from September of 2023, which was quite incisive about him and his approach to the game and his approach to his brand. And I think, that scared off a lot of the veteran talent evaluators, a lot of veteran people in the NFL, is that this guy wants to come in and change how we do business. He wants to go back to the time that we had salary installments, for lack of a better word, for each draft pick. He wants to go back to the days of Sam Bradford, who signed like $100 million contract when he was drafted first. Those are the things that he's been talking about. Now, that's not going to happen, at least not this year. But that's scared him off. But there is no arguing the fact that this guy is a truly phenomenal athletic talent. He has all the skills to throw the ball on time, to make off balance, off timing throws, and he can run with the football. But he doesn't look to run. He looks downfield every time he's scrambling around to try to make a big play. Now, that is part of the knock on him, is that when his team started to falter in the second half of last season during the Notre Dame game and on, that he started to become Superman. And is he going to stop thinking that I got to be the one to save us when we're down 24-0 at Soldier Field against the Lions? No, did I say that? Get out of here. But he's got to get away from that mentality. And I think that this coaching staff will work with him on that, and they will try. And with this defense, it's highly unlikely we'll be trailing anyone by 24-0. So I'm very confident that the Bears will choose Caleb Williams and that he will have a very good to great NFL career.
The more I watch him, the more, it's pro day, and anyone's going to have a good pro day unless you're obviously not completing passes. But the way this guy moves, the way he sees the game, and just his accuracy on every throw, whether it's deep or it's close, unmatched. And I like him. He's grown on me. A lot of my viewers that are tuning in right now, they know that I was a big Justin Fields guy, and I wanted the Bears to keep Justin Fields, give him another chance, and keep growing this team, trade back, get more assets, give Justin Fields a chance, because two offensive coordinators in 3 years, both of them being Matt Nagy and Luke Getsy, I didn't think he had a chance. But now you have Shane Waldron, who can pretty much unlock any quarterback, in my opinion. You have Caleb Williams coming in, who is a super talented player. He, like you said, run the ball, pass the ball, good vision, makes plays for himself. And we're not going to have a good offensive line this year at the moment. It's still developing. It's still getting there. It's better than years past. But Caleb Williams can make plays for himself, which is the big thing for me in regards to picking him up. And if he doesn't work out, I pray he does. I pray he does. We need a quarterback to work out for the Chicago Bears. I just want him to go out there and be the quarterback that he was at USC. Everyone that's like, oh, he paints his nails, he does this, he does that, whatever. Just win some ball games. I don't care at this point anymore. Yeah. But I hope he's not another Bear. He's going to break the curse. He's got to break the curse of these Bears quarterbacks. And go ahead, Aldo.
I was just going to say, the criticism of him crying on his mom's shoulder and him painting his nails, that's, the implication there is that he's, the old expression was soft in the loafers or something like that. And that couldn't be further from the truth. This is a tough guy who has gotten walloped in college football games and gotten back up and played hard. This is a guy who, when you listen to Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus, has the total respect of his team. They saw during dinner time, the camaraderie that he had with his teammates. They saw it on the field during the pro day. This is, and you don't get that kind of respect if you're A, not a good person, and B, not a tough guy willing to stand in there and take hits for your team. So I think, I hope that Bears fans get off that narrative and now start to judge the guy by his actions as a Chicago Bear, because he's going to be one in about 30 days.
I mean, it's what would that be? It's exactly, is it 30 days? Yeah, because 31. Yeah,
yeah, it is.
what's the countdown? 30 days till Caleb. I mean, in 30 days, at this moment in 30 days, it'll be 24 minutes away from when the Bears are on the clock in the NFL
Unbelievable. That is awesome.
Which I'm really excited about. And although I know we've talked about it before, you're having your own draft live stream. We are too. And just want to give you guys a quick shout out if you're able to make it. We are having the Just Another Year draft party at Rizzo's Bar and Inn in Wrigleyville, Illinois, which we are super excited about. April 25th, starts at 6 p.m., doors open. There's going to be free Freshie organic tequila seltzer for those who show up on time. On top of that, we're going to have a bags tournament. We're going to have other podcasters there. We are going to have everyone there. Make sure you scan the QR code on the screen right now or go to the link in the description to get your ticket today. All ticket proceeds go to College Bound Opportunities, a nonprofit in the Chicagoland area that helps first-generation college students live their college dream of going to school. I was part of College Bound Opportunities. I couldn't thank you guys enough. We hope to see you guys at the party. Aldo, I see what you're holding right now. Freshie organic tequila seltzer, baby.
Yes.
Official sponsor of Just Another Year. How about that?
let me tell you, this stuff is really good. I'm drinking the blood orange habanero. So it's got that little spicy kick to it. I love it. It's very refreshing. And there's vodka in it. So I can't go wrong.
It's actually organic tequila, if you didn't know that.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. This other one is tequila. No, I'm just kidding. I got my drinks confused.
No worries. But guys, if you want to try Freshie, make sure you scan the QR code on the screen right now. And it's funny. So I met Aldo in person earlier in the season, and to the party we were at, I brought some Freshie for him. And Aldo, it sounds like you've been a consistent consumer of it.
I am. Every time I go to a liquor store, I pick up a pack, and my daughters both love it too. So they're coming over this weekend, so I better go get some more tomorrow.
There you go. Absolutely. I mean, hey, it's almost tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Man, maybe I could sneak in a drink there. Why not? But overall, and also, Aldo, we do a thing on the channel in the live chat where I'm excited to see people already started doing it without me asking, but everyone throw an FGB in the group chat right now. Let's throw it up on the screen, get everybody all amped up. I love to just see it. Yep, we got everyone starting. Cliff's doing it. Mark's doing it. Keep it up, guys. I know Mike's about to do it too. And shout out to Mike. Aldo is the man. Up, here they come.
Mikey.
Here we go. FGB. There we go.
I love it.
There we go. And also, guys, tell us where you're calling in from today. We got Robert from Tennessee in here right now. Oh, my goodness. This is my favorite part of the live chat right now. Just everybody is on the train. Oh, no. Don Burr got back out of timeout.
There was a guy earlier in the show who was checking in from Portugal.
Yeah, I saw that. We have a couple other folks that usually call in from the UK, which I'm super pumped about. Aldo, I don't know if you're trying to go to the UK game this year, but
yes, my wife wants to go. I think
I'm going to try to go.
Yeah, that would be a blast.
We'll have to get the same flight out of O'Hare. Oh,
cool.
we got everybody called. We got Austin, Texas, Evergreen Park. We got Foster calling in. He's in Green Bay territory, but he's representing the Bears up there. Oh man, let's go, guys. Bird. We got Lyle. We got everybody in the house right now. We got Skokie. Thanks, guys. There we go. Not far from us. I'm over in Des Plaines, so not far from Skokie. We got Scuba calling in right now. Everybody. Oh, we got Sarasota, Florida in the house. Milan, Illinois. West Palm Beach, Florida. Mount Prospect. Oh man, you guys are the best. See, Bears fans are just everywhere, Aldo.
They have internet in Detroit.
Yeah, Don Burr, the Detroit King. He came back. He made another profile to get in here. I put him in timeout. You guys can go chat with Don in the group chat right now. This is great. We got Indianapolis in the house, Charleston, South Carolina. Oh my goodness. People from everywhere. Thank you guys for tuning in. We still got more to talk about today, so we're not done yet. Flagstaff, Arizona. All right. Keep throwing it in there, guys. We'll throw them up at the end to see who called in. But let's go into the tough conversation that a lot of Bears fans unfortunately have to deal with is, Aldo, what was your reaction to the Justin Fields trade?
Well, it wasn't surprising because, again, like we said earlier, polls kind of telegraphed it. But I was saddened. I think, and I did a rant on one of my shows. I had a couple of these freshies and I got a little out of control. I'm disappointed in Bears fans who have shown Justin disrespect. Here's a guy who took incredible hits. Here's a guy, in his very first game in the preseason, he got hit by Buffalo. His helmet came off, and that just continued. And the officials didn't respect him by making justified penalties against the defense for these hits. And now the fans have started to disrespect him. I know that he had flaws in his game, but I saw improvements, and I saw a guy who wanted to be the best, who worked hard at being the best, who won over the locker room, and he won over my heart. And I wish him well in Pittsburgh. I know he's going to have a better career in Pittsburgh than he had in Chicago because he's a tough kid and he's going to fight for that starting job. And I wouldn't at all be surprised by midseason that he is starting for the Steelers and helping them get into the playoffs.
I mean, so Aldo, I'm not sure if you saw my live reaction, but it was on the Saturday of St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, you're shaking your head. I definitely was a little red in the face, but as you know, I wish Justin the best too. I think that there was a lot more love than overall. I mean, there definitely were people like, I've been saying it all along. Like, I get it. He's going to do great things. He's a great quarterback, great person on and off the field. And we got to say he was a Chicago Bear, and who knows, he might get back at us someday, beating us in some big game. I hope it's not the Super Bowl by any means, yes. But overall, I wish him nothing but the best because he brought hope to this franchise. Like he was that. I mean, a couple years ago, this is what we're going to react to Caleb Williams like, is when we got Justin Fields, people were buying his jersey. They're like, this is the next great thing for Chicago. And the Bears honestly failed him in a lot of ways. But he also walked into a rebuild. He walked into a team coming off trying to Band-Aid together a team and then went through the rebuild. So overall, I wish him nothing but the best. And I like that Russ is in front of him, maybe can give him a couple of overall tips and tricks in order to be the quarterback that he is. But wish him nothing but the best. But let's go into a different update. An exciting update for the future of the team is the stadium update. So as a lot of people know, the Bears bought the land in Arlington Heights where the racetrack was, demolished it, paid about $93 million for it. And then Kevin Warren comes out and says, oh, we're building on the lake now. So the Bears bought 330 acres of prime real estate in one of the bigger suburbs in the Chicagoland area, 2 private airports, Metra, highways, you name it, good to go. Well, the Bears changed their plans, and now they're looking to build on the lakefront. Kevin Warren re-certified that today at the meetings, talking about it, that they're excited, starting to get some renderings in place that haven't been released yet. But Aldo, what was your reaction? Did you want the Bears to move to Arlington Heights, or did you want them to stay in the city?
Well, as you know, I live in Arlington Heights, and so it would have been nice to have them about 2.3 miles. I think I did the math once. That's how far I am away from the racetrack. So it would have been nice. My property values would have gone up. But if it doesn't happen, I'm fine with it being at Soldier Field as long as the getting to and out of Soldier Field is improved dramatically. As long as they're not going to put some awful looking thing like the current Soldier Field, obscuring, the lake and the view and so forth. And then listening to to Kevin Warren, it sounds to me like he is taking everyone's considerations into account, and he is going to work really, really hard to do this the right way. Now, he did use the word momentum. There's momentum headed towards building a stadium in Chicago, in downtown Chicago, in that campus area, but he didn't say it was a sure thing. And he said that he's still, I forgot the exact wording on the Arlington Heights, but that is still not dead. And so we've got to wonder, is this guy playing a high-level Jedi poker game? Because already the Arlington Heights people are terrified, and they've started to reduce the tax bill. And so it was his performance, for lack of a better word, was that geared towards really scaring Arlington Heights and saying, this thing is going away. Momentum is headed towards Soldier Field. We're giving them $2 billion. There's never been an investment that big in the history of Chicago from a private institution to erect something. I mean, he laid it out brilliantly. And if I were the mayor of Arlington Heights, and if I were the head of the school districts, I'd be going, holy cow, we got to do something. We're losing this. Our strategy is not working. So we will see. Either way, I will be happy if we get a state-of-the-art stadium where I can enjoy my travel to the game, my experience inside, and my travel back home. That's my priorities.
Well, you just got to vote for mayor from that one. just so you know, GCA is saying Aldo for mayor, and I cannot agree with you more. The transportation to Soldier Field is horrendous. I mean, the worst in the league. I don't know why when they first redid it, they just didn't add an L line. They were originally going to do. They were supposed to add an L line when they redid it in 2003, and they're like, oh no, people will drive. Do you know how many people drive in the city of Chicago? This isn't New York where people avoid driving. People love driving in this city. I mean, if you learn how to drive in the city, which my dad, my first time with my permit, I drove, he took me to the city in the heart of downtown, said, this is where you learn how to drive. And I'm telling you, people, I mean, the city just doesn't have it figured out. I mean, Lakeshore Drive just isn't big enough. There's only 2 exits coming from the south and the north. The parking's horrendous. It's the second smallest stadium in the NFL. And I went to a Fire game, Aldo, what was it, 3 weeks ago, the home opener for the Chicago Fire, which, by the way, I love that they play at Soldier Field now. Like it's definitely better than their old situation in Oak Park, I believe. And also, by the way, now people are calling you the governor. So I think your political stance is definitely starting to really grow. Now, someone say Aldo for president, because I'm about to throw this.
No way.
But overall, I mean, it's just so bad. And after the game, so I tailgated before the game, and think about it. A Fire game maybe gets 20,000 fans, so 1/3 of the stadium.
Right.
And I was in the parking lot for an hour and 10 minutes after the game, waiting to get out. Because it feeds from 10 lanes of parking lots to 3. So everyone's fighting with each other and going through. Soldier Field, the museum campus is great. The inside of the stadium, it's okay. But again, they call it the toilet bowl of Chicago because they just put it right there.
That's exactly right.
So overall, I mean, like they proposed that they would build an L line that would go in across the street, that then you'd walk over Lakeshore Drive and it would go straight into the stadium. But the thing is that it doesn't help out the seating capacity. You can't build any more in the current Soldier Field. So they've already announced that it'll be south of McCormick Place. But what L line goes over there? None. So now you're going to have to build another $1 billion for the L line to go over there. You still don't address more parking lanes. You don't address more parking. You're going to tear down Soldier Field. You have to build onto the lake at that point, and still it's not gonna work. Getting to Soldier Field is terrible. My dad and I went to, what was it, Bears? I think it was Bears Lions 2 years ago.
Okay.
And we parked about like a 35-minute walk, which in reality is not that far from the stadium. The fact that you have to walk all the way back after a loss, as of recently, and it's just like, you don't want to do this, man. You just want to get on an L line, get to your car. Like Wrigley Field, perfect. I mean, I get on at Skokie, I call it a day. Like it's beautiful. So I don't know. That's why I want Arlington Heights, because the Metra Express from Ogilvy to Arlington Park, I think that if they did the Express, it's 29 minutes. And you're taken from the heart of the city out there. You have 2 major highways, 2 private airports, and in all that space, you can build a city in a city. Yeah. And I don't see the Bears spending $2 billion to not fully own the stadium in the city. So,
yeah, as Warren said today, they are the largest landowner. The Chicago Bears organization is the largest landowner in Arlington Heights. They have 329 acres of really outstanding real estate. And so he was asked, well, if the Soldier Field thing works out, what are you going to do with all that land? He kind of smiled. There's a lot of value in real estate. So it's not like they're going to lose, but that is ideally, that is the place to put the stadium because of the traffic, because, you can build and you own it. It's yours. You don't have to share it with the city of Chicago and the crazies that run this town. So it just doesn't make sense to go to Chicago, and there will be no parking. Warren was asked about that today. Well, if you build in the campus area, what about parking? And he had no answer for that. We're working on that. So they're not going to come up with an answer.
What are you going to do? Build another Waldron parking lot that's 3 stories, but takes you 2 hours to get out of if you're parked on the bottom, and you can't tailgate in there. It's just, and you got McCormick Place there. Like, it's just, it isn't a good setup. And also, by the way, Aldo, now you're being called president. So,
no.
During this podcast, everybody, he went from mayor of Arlington Heights to governor of Illinois, which I think I would love if Aldo was, and then now he's the president of the United States. So thank you, Aldo, for taking over. And then also, Jeffrey, you have a really good point, is that they have boat parking, because everyone have you seen how much a boat slip is in any of the harbors in the city?
Not in a while.
Way too much. Oh my gosh. But it's just that you can build this thing so right. And all these major teams, besides the Carolina Panthers, I mean, they're not even one of the major market teams. No one's in their downtown area. I mean, the Giants are an outside out. I mean, Miami, San Francisco, Green Bay is its own city. The stadium is the city of Green Bay. So overall,
it's funny because Kevin Warren keeps bragging. It sounds like he's bragging almost that he lives in the city, and when I drive into the city and when I drive out of the city, I see this and I see that. When I drive, Kevin, who's really driving? It's not you. I bet. It's not you, a multimillionaire. I bet it's somebody else. And you're, either looking at your iPad and then occasionally looking out the window. So it's a different experience for you, Kevin, than it is for people in Chicago who have to get through that traffic.
And that's the other thing too, is that, these guys get sometimes police escorts. Like, if you see a couple black cars pulling out of the city with cop cars in front of it, it's and they're going north there. I will put money on it that 9 times out of 10, it's either a Bears player or it's, someone going up north that has that type of power in the city. But yeah, I don't get it. And during that article that they released about him a couple of months ago before the season ended, it showed him getting into the driver's seat of a beautiful Cadillac. I was like, is your driver taking the picture, Kevin? Come on, man. You're not driving the car.
I love it. I do like what Jerome Munoz says. He says, go ahead and buy and tear down McCormick Place. I kind of agree with that. I know that is the place for big conventions, but it's so antiquated now. It's really horrible looking from the outside. And a domed stadium in that area could handle all those conventions that typically go to McCormick Place. Maybe not all of them, but a good deal. When I was back at Channel 2 working for Channel 2 News in the 1980s, there was all this talk about McPier and building a stadium in downtown Chicago and it being domed. And the people behind it were stressing there are conventions that bring in 60, 70, 80,000 people that there's no place in Chicago to house those. And Warren talked today about the NCAA tournament and concerts and so forth that this new stadium could house. Well, if you tear down McCormick, then all of a sudden you're freeing up a lot of land for parking and a state-of-the-art stadium. So that's something to consider.
Oh, well, if that stadium gets a name, Lefty 13's calling it Aldo's Thunderdome.
I love it.
But so what I did was I just pulled up how much it has cost with all the expansions and all the overall construction for McCormick Place. Take a guess how much it's technically worth if you just do construction costs. Just take a guess.
Boy, I'm going to say 1.5 billion. I don't know.
Not far off. $2 billion.
Wow.
So I couldn't see if the Bears are willing to spend $2 billion, maybe that's them paying to tear it down and build it up. Who knows? I'm fully with you though. I mean, like McCormick Place, you go to, I mean, they moved the boat show out of McCormick Place. That was that now it's out in Rosemont.
Yeah.
But you still have, what's it called? The auto show there, but that's the big attraction every year. And then Comic-Con, but Comic-Con actually now has been in Rosemont the last couple of years because of COVID, because they were redoing McCormick Place. I was in there not too long ago and it still smells like pee. And
yes. Oh, it's awful. It's awful.
It's not, I mean, I see Cliff, the auto show is in February, so that would work out fine. That's the only place though that's the only thing really that's at McCormick Place in my personal opinion.
Right.
But I think we're on to something here. Tear down, or at least the one building of McCormick Place that's next to Soldier Field, the black building of McCormick Place, tear that down.
Yes.
Then you could, I mean, that's maybe where they build the stadium is right there, but you're going to lose some parking because South Lot's right there. It's tough. The transportation issue is not addressed, though. That's my biggest issue.
Yeah, there's tons of infrastructure issues that have not been addressed, and Kevin's got this really rosy picture about moving this to Chicago. You got the Friends of the Lakefront. That's a strong group. They stopped the George Lucas Star Wars Museum from being built in that campus area. So that's it. Opening soon in San Francisco. That was going to be a state-of-the-art museum in the lakefront. They objected to it. They raised holy hell, and Chicago lost it. So I don't think he's going to have any easier time with that strong organization.
I love the museum campus. I mean, I really do. It's nice to go down and walk around. Someone said, James Joseph, I don't know if you're saying tear down the Field Museum, but I can't do. Like that's a Chicago icon. That's a Chicago icon right there.
Yeah.
My favorite is looking at pictures when Grant Park was just a field and the Field Museum. You can't get rid of it. It truly is, and it's incredible to go to still.
Yeah.
Came back, tear down the building.
It's boring. Oh, come on, James.
So, and we also have some confirmation on that black building of McCormick Place. The black building is the original McCormick Place. That is so outdated. It definitely has to go. Then if you want to torture fans, build a new stadium. There you go.
Well, you go inside, the lighting is, from the 60s. It's really bad fluorescent lighting. It's like you go in there, you feel sick. Yeah, it's got to go.
Not just the pee smell, right? It's the fluorescent lighting.
That's right.
I mean, I like what the Bears are doing. I mean, this is just such a great time to be a Bears fan. New stadium inbound within the next couple of years. And Kevin Warren said that's confirmed by the end of this year. You have a new quarterback coming in. You have a top 5 defense again. You have a new offensive coordinator. You have a culture. I mean, Aldo, before we close things out, because we only got a couple minutes here, and everyone throw some comments in the comment section. I'll throw it up, maybe a question or two before we go out. But Aldo, in regards to just this feeling as a fan, and this is just me speaking, and please give your own opinion. I've never felt better about the Bears. Yeah. And really, I really have never felt better about this team.
Mm-hmm. I was in my mid-20s during the 84 season. And at the end of that season, when we lost the playoff game, I typically would cry, but I felt so confident that in 85, we were going to come back and have a stronger team. And throughout that season, the level of confidence that I had as a Bears fan was sky high. The feeling that I have now is second to that, probably second to the following year or two when I thought the Bears were going to be a dynasty, but that's another story for another day. But I feel really good about what Ryan Poles has built here. Kevin Warren talked about how disciplined Poles is, and he is. He has forsaken, other than the Chase Claypool thing, he's forsaken quick fix ideas, which is what Ryan Pace did year after year after year, and it never paid off. He is meticulously building a team from the ground up and building it for sustained success. And so that's the beautiful thing. And I'll add, I'll take your question even a little further. What makes it more exciting for me is this new era of technology where I can tune in to the Jay Show and I can listen to Nick share his opinions, where I can tune into some of my other podcasts, whether they're on my network or not. It doesn't matter. Now I'm not being force fed the same message that comes from Hallis Hall to the major TV stations. Not that I dislike them. I worked for them, so they're great. But it's the same message distilled in the same way, pretty much. And now I can get a diversity of opinion and thought and analysis from guys like you and other guys who are doing this. And I love it. I love where we are right now as an organization and a fandom.
And Aldo, I can't agree enough with you. I think we do have the greatest fans in the world. I mean, we've gone through, besides Don Burr, the Lions fans, they are crazier than us. Let's just put that out there. But,
exactly.
It's just such a good time to be a Bears fan because there is so many different opinions out there. There's so many different real facts that people break down. And I kind of want to go, this helps lead into a comment that I saw earlier from Scott. Aldo, I made a mock trade yesterday where the Bears trade the number 1 pick to the Chargers for 5 Justin Herbert and a few other picks. And, you break it down. And like you're saying with the age of technology, I was able to go out and see all the different Justin Herbert breakdown of his contract, what he would bring to this team, who has he been with before, how would he work in shape? And it's just everyone has that information there. Oh, I mean, it's fun. Like, that's what makes this fun and this offseason even more fun as a fan, because you don't know what's going to happen with this team. Also, by the way, Aldo, would you trade the number 1 for Justin Herbert and number 5 or no?
I'm looking real quick here to see. He signed a 5-year, $262 million contract. Oh, man.
But think about how much of that is guaranteed money, $220 million of it.
Yes, that is a great point. I would probably, that is the toughest question I have faced this offseason, and I'm not kidding, because I love Justin Herbert, and I think that he's just scratching his greatness. And I don't think Harbaugh is the right head coach for him. I think Harbaugh would love to have J.J. McCarthy run that Chargers offense. But I would have to say no right now because because the salary. Oh man! But I'd love to sleep on it, and we'll talk about it some other day.
There we go. Aldo, one quick question for you before we tune off. It's from Cliff. Would you use some of this next year's draft capital to gain a second rounder this year?
It depends on who is on the board. So, as today Greg Gabriel was talking about, these trades are prearranged. And so, hey, in the second round, would you be interested in trading this for this? And then if your guy is available on that pick and you've already had an informal agreement that we're going to make this trade with the Chicago Bears, if they call us, then yes. And if that guy is somebody like, I don't know, let's say who is the third, or let's say Brian Taylor. He's not going to go in the second round, but let's say Brian Taylor, the 4th best receiver in this draft, is available early in the second round. Yeah, hell yeah, I'm making that trade. And I am now on the squad. I got the successor to Keenan Allen and or DJ Moore. So yeah, I would definitely consider it, Foster or Cliff.
Yep, I love that thinking. I really do. And Aldo, I know we're at an hour, and I appreciate you coming on for the full hour. And everyone that's in here, we've had consistently 350 people tuned in. So cannot thank you guys enough for tuning in. And Aldo, I cannot thank you enough for coming on and joining me as well. It's going to be such a fun rest of the month, and I'm sure we're going to cross paths on Twitter, and we'll probably do a mock draft together before the big night.
Would love that. Thanks for having me on, and continued success, brother.
Absolutely. And you as well, Aldo, if you could stay on for 1 second after we're done, I'd really appreciate it, just to close out. And thank you, everyone, for tuning into this episode of Just Another Year Chicago Bears. Please hit that like button before you leave to make sure that more Bears fans see this. But today I had very special guest, Aldo Gandia from Barroom Network. Aldo, can't thank you enough for coming on again. And thank you for tuning in this episode of Just Another Year Chicago Bears. My name is Nick Rohde, and as always, bear down, baby.